Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
He admitted paying workers below the minimum wage and unacceptable, even repugnant practices at his company's warehouse. Union representatives said workers were so scared to ask for time off work that one woman actually gave birth in a toilet. But the Sports Direct founder, Mike Ashley, emerged from his showdown with MPs today on the Business Select Committee virtually unscathed. So how did he manage it? Our business correspondent, Helia Ebrahimi, has this report.
Mike Ashley, the billionaire tycoon. And then there's his workforce, some of whom he's failed to pay even £6.70 an hour. Pile 'em high, sell 'em cheap, but behind the cheery humming, there's been a scandal brewing about the culture of Sports Direct.
I really am not enjoying this.
And today came the admission.
Do you accept that the company was effectively paying workers below the minimum wage?
On that specific point, for that specific bit of time, yes. Some things have come as a bit of an unpleasant surprise, yes.
Could you tell the committee what those unpleasant surprises are?
Well, first thing that I looked at was the bottlenecks, and that wasn't our best ever day.
What Mr. Ashley is referring to is security checks at Shirebrook that were adding so much time to staff working hours that they were effectively being paid £6.50 an hour rather than the legal minimum of £6.70. The results of the undercover investigation have led to a formal inquiry by HMRC, confirmed for the first time by Mr. Ashley today. But it's not just pay. Union Unite today submitted an explosive dossier packed with details about a company culture full of bullying, where work conditions were likened to that of a gulag.
These are conditions that are just unacceptable in 21st century Britain. And if you don't stop it here, of course, the problem that you get is that this then extends itself across the economy.
Be bagged up before it gets put on the shelves.
The root of the problem is the 6 strikes and you're out policy on absenteeism. It's enforced so rigorously that sickness and even taking time off to have a baby count against staff, which has created a powder keg of pressure, sparking an unusually high level of accident reports. At the Derbyshire warehouse at the centre of allegations, there have been 110 ambulance call-outs in the last 3.5 years. 50 have been classified life-threatening, 5 involved difficulties in pregnancy, and in one case, a woman gave birth in a toilet.
There will be things in a company that size that do happen that shouldn't happen. I didn't build Sports Direct. Sports Direct built me. You understand? It's like going out one day and you've got a tiny little inflatable and you're in control, and the next wake up one morning and you're on an oil tanker.
Mike Ashley stands accused of a 0 hours culture. In fact, 1/5 of all 0 hours on the high street are through Sports Direct. Altogether, 79% of his staff are employed on that basis, with just 200 people employed directly at his warehouse and 3,000 through an agency. And on reducing the percentage of staff on 0 hours.
Some of our top people have come from the zero contract employment.
Oh, that sounds positive.
Would I think that is a reasonable thing that you're saying? Would I think Sports Direct should be able to review that without me and at least make the easy first little step?
So is that a yes? Will there be a change in the makeup of full-time and 0 hour contracts?
I've got sympathy, but I'm not sure.
So that's a no then. And he was also pulled up on the company's draconian response to tardiness.
If you were a minute late, you got docked 15 minutes pay. You ask me what I think it's unacceptable. You ask me what I think it's unacceptable. If I thought it was acceptable, I wouldn't change it.
Then there were the allegations about women being targeted sexually, and the response very much in the unique Ashley style.
Are you absolutely sure you can sit here and say there's no, what you would call sexual within the office? Harassment happening in Sainsbury's?
The difference is...
I think there probably is, and Sports Direct therefore has to pull its socks up. Simple as that, fellas. not just girls.
So you're accepting that a lot of wealth, a lot of it's gone to you.
Yeah.
You've created a lot of wealth. You've done something absolutely remarkable. Do you think your company has outgrown your ability to manage it?
Probably a long time ago.
Of the
But
organisation.
he quickly added,
And who am I going to easily get to do that? That's going to guarantee we get a better income. But income, that's the wrong word. What do I mean? The result. Outcome. Sorry, did somebody say something about that?
Right, okay.
So, they were helping me with the words, I think.
even when he makes a mistake, Ashley a master of playing the crowd.
Thank you.
He left Parliament having done the same with MPs. To watch him is to be beguiled. But for Sports Direct, the problems haven't just disappeared, with public scrutiny now zeroing in on the delivery of his promises.
Helia Ebrahimi reporting. Well, with me to discuss the implications of what's been happening at Sports Direct is the Conservative MP Amanda Holloway, a member of the Business Select Committee, which questioned Mike Ashley today. And we should say at the beginning, you have a personal interest.
Yes, I do. My daughter used to work for Sports Direct.
And suffered what?
Well, she was there for 6 years, and in that time, a lot of the things we've been discussing, she actually went through in terms of long hours, working for no pay. And in the end, she ended up having to have 6 months off because it had worn her down that much.
And did you have a sense that this was the culture that came from the top?
I think today it's been fascinating to listen to how a culture like this has developed from the start to what exists now.
But what's going to be done?
One of the things that we need to do, I haven't had an opportunity to speak to the my fellow members, but I think what needs to happen first of all is we've highlighted this, and we've highlighted it to him. So he now, and I certainly got the impression that what he needs to do is reflect on everything, one, that has been brought to attention, and two, that he has seen exist, and he needs to do something very specifically about it.
But it was an extraordinary performance, because at one stage it was a sort of, yeah, well, I guess that's what I did, and then, well, not me, Gov, and then, I mean, you never quite knew where you were.
I felt, being in there, and I haven't watched it back, I've only just seen the clips just now, that we did get a lot of honest responses. I did feel that. And I think there are a lot of things that are going wrong in Sport Direct that actually he said he is going to address. The truth, and I guess the proof in the pudding, will be if something happens as a result of what he said.
But the suspicion has been strong for a long time that he's known what was going on in his shops, and that was actually the whole design. I mean, for example, the 0 hours contract, which of course have given a lot of employment to a lot of people, but at a terrible cost, as it was to your daughter.
Yeah, she wasn't on a 0 hour contract here. She has been on a 0 hour contract before. What fascinated me was, what you haven't seen is the agencies, and we actually had interviews with the agencies before.
What agencies?
I can't remember. There were two agencies that we looked at, and they're the ones who supply Shirebrook.
I see, the employment agencies.
The employment agencies, yes. And what was absolutely fascinating is that they put 3,000 staff into that business a week. Now, surely, out of those 3,000 staff, you have to be able to make permanent positions. And we did make that very, very clear today.
But most of us grew up reading history of Victorian times when people were sent up chimneys and all the rest of it. It sounds very much as if we'd returned to them.
I think what has happened here is you have, what was very telling for me is when he described the origins of Sports Direct, when he said, it's hard work and it's people that are core of this. And I think that's been lost in the translation. I think it's grown beyond his expectations.
But the consequence is that you have a labour force that has suffered dreadfully and a man who's got jolly rich.
Yeah,
doesn't sound exactly fair.
It's not fair, and that is why I was so pleased that we were doing what we did today. And as I say, the key thing for me is, from what we have, what has been clear, and the evidence is that something is actually done, and he is held to account on the things he said he would do, and he said that publicly as well.
Well, Amanda Holloway, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
I've been getting away with it all my